Hello, my name is Sean Wilkerson, and I'm going to hopefully do a short video on using Endnote X7. This is a Windows platform, and working with difficult or old or scanned PDFs. This is an old article. It's publicly available on the web. Also, Dr. Dobbs Journal. You'll see the little tab up here, which is what the interlibrary loan people actually had to send me. But their excellence involved them also sending me the original. Now, what I'm going to attempt to do, and I've not tested this, but I know the concept works on other documents. This is just a worst case scenario. I'm going to open it with the full version of Adobe Acrobat. I have the monthly subscription to the cloud. You can get that as a student as a discount rate or just professional or however you want to get a hold of it. Now, as we see, this is pretty much scanned images. You can see where the book was covered. I don't know what it's going to do with this little part right here, but we shall see. Okay, so here we go. First thing we're going to do, we're going to go underneath Tools. And under Tools, we're going to do Enhance Scans. We want to enhance scan document. So hopefully that tells it, hey, this is scanned enhanced. Now, we want to recognize the text. Now, you can go up under here and you can change some stuff like the recognize text. Whoops, actually, we're talking about settings. Pull that over. I have a triple monitor, so I want to do it in the other one. We want to recognize text, but we also want to do in images and everything else. We're just going to let that do its thing. Once you have it set to go, you just click the Enhance. Again, message and the other thing. We want to optimize again. Evidently, when I just clicked that, it tried to do it. Now, as you see, it's going through the document down there. And hopefully, we're going to be getting text instead of pictures. Now, for those who are doing research, the obvious reason for text is when you need to do direct citations, or if you're trying to highlight something that you're going to bring back, you want to refer to probably later. The general stuff that you're going to do. Now, you saw the end of it, it went right through it because it's pretty much straight text. It doesn't have all the background stuff. And there's a note. Original's hard to read, so we're sending you this link. There's a link to the one on the web. Now, I'm going to attempt, there we go. We're going to pull this up and make it a little larger so we can see what's going on. Now, as you see, we now have text. Now, yeah, this is still an image. It's so obliterated with the darkness in the font and the cute little graphics in the back. Let that be a warning to publishers to be careful. Make sure it's a good contrast. The top is still, there's nothing that can be done with this. But we were able to get a hold of the primary stuff, the content, text, etc., in the article itself. So that makes life a little easier in that way. But what the interlibrary loan people did was they went to the website, copied it, attached it to the end so that I could actually have the full text. Thank you guys, that was great of you. But if you notice anything? It's not text. So now we're going to come on here and I'm going to say recognize text. Let's see what we're doing. We're just going to say in this file. You can even talk to correct recognize text. But we're going to say in this file, settings, and I want to start on, looks like page 6. So let me pull this over so you can see what I'm doing. 6. Say OK, and see here the output changed because it knows it's text. We want to do all editable text and images. You might ask why images, because sometimes images have text in it. And it's only that way because of something that Word or some other document processor might have done to be able to get that to look pretty in the page or whatever. And sometimes we're going to want to be able to pull some of those figures or some of that stuff apart to use it for our own works or references or to compare and contrast against whichever. So we want to see what we can do here. So we're going to hit OK on its last few pages. Um, it's evidently thinking it's done. And look at this. Now what do we have? We have full-fledged text. Now what I did for my own stuff. Now here, let me show you one quick thing here. Let's say I want to say facilitating change is attempting to prevent it. Is more effective rather than, and I highlight it. This is the other advantage of doing this. I'm going to hit save. And let's minimize this and we'll go back to Endnote. Now you just saw the flash. In effect, what happened is Endnote just automatically reloaded that PDF because we edited its PDF. And if we slide all the way down, well, we could do this real quick. And see, this is the other thing. Some of the stuff, the older documents, especially Endnote's PDF engine, is kind of weak. And so you'll get the flashing and you're going to try to guess. Let's see, I think it's about here. And you're not going to be quite sure what you get it. As you notice over in Adobe, we did not have that trouble because it's a little bit better at figuring out its own things than a third-party software would be. That's obvious. But the point is here we go. Now, in EndNote, if you highlight something, there's no undoing it. The only way to say, oh, we got to go, you have to go all the way back to your last saved version. And when you're intent in a 35, 40, 50, 60 page paper, you may not be saving often. That could be bad. So I'm going to minimize this. In other words, save often. Let's go back into here, and I'm going to hit Control Z. Because you can do that. The other advantage of this is, say we're trying to do keywords. And in EndNote, it only allows you one color. In Adobe Acrobat, you can select a tool. You see it's already highlighted. So I'm going to hit Control Z real quick because I don't want that color. If you noticed, then you can pick anything. Now let me give you a warning. Remember the contrast issue that we have with the original documents? So don't use these harsh contrast on text. You don't want darks, anything. That one, the dark blue, the magenta, the black, of course, dark grays, and even yellow. A bright, crisp yellow may not be too good at 4 o'clock in the morning at 11 o'clock at night on your eyes. So you may want to stay with passive colors like these down here, this whole set down here that gives you a nice grouping of them. Maybe even that's white, so that's going to work, but say maybe this gray and straight across here. So I'm going to grab this. No personal preference, I'm just grabbing. And I want to highlight Scrum. Done. If I save it, and we go back to EndNote. Whoops. EndNote, wrong critter. It's just why it's slow, I have no idea. I have an i7, 16 gigs of RAM. You notice the color is in EndNote. This is EndNote. You cannot do that in EndNote. EndNote's good, but for some of the PDF stuff, it could use a little boost sometimes. Some articles you don't need it, but some with the real like seminal articles and things like that, you may want to get in and do this stuff. But in a nutshell, that's pretty well working with a difficult or a older PDF file, which may be a direct scan out of like an old magazine or something, which you sometimes do when you start dealing with stuff from the 1970s and 80s, and even maybe some of the 90s. Different database, ProQuest, JSTOR, etc. They use their own methods sometimes of doing this. The publishers use their own methods of doing this. So not all PDFs are created equal. So this just gives you a tool to put in your arsenal to make sure that you are spending the majority of your time doing research instead of fighting software glitches or trying to deal with something that's in a software that is just really not in your best interest. For myself, I did go to the site itself, just in this particular case, grabbed it. I would not suggest doing this all the time. Sometimes things on websites do not match the journal exactly. And this particular item, the Agile Manifesto, that is intensely the case. Like if you go to Google Scholar, you will get people's. When I did it, there was 8 versions of it or 9 versions of it. They were all citing each other, and none of them was the actual article. They were only like the table or something. What do I want to say? A basically boiled down version of the last few pages of this, and it really that's not the journal article. You want the full thing so that you can actually quote from it. So be careful of that stuff. But anyway, either here or there. I hope this video helps you as far as the simplicity of jumping into Acrobat using the tools, enhanced scans. Click it, brings you a little title bar, recognize text. Once you have this set up, more often than not, you can just hit it and just hit recognize text, and it will go right through your subsequent documents and know what you're wanting. Sometimes it will crash on some, well, crash might be a harsh word, but it might on some of the pre-pages that a database will put in. Let it crash in that first page. I already exampled how to do a page range, like in this example, it's page 6 through 9. That should be it. This is Sean Wilkerson, and I hope this helped.